If you've been doing Kegels for years and you're still leaking when you sneeze, still feel that heaviness by the end of the day, still don't trust a hard laugh in public, I need you to hear this. It's not your fault. And it's not because you didn't try hard enough. It's because somewhere between 50 and 70% of women are doing Kegels wrong. And a quarter of them are doing a version that actually makes things worse. I'm Dr. Romalia, and in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's going wrong, why squeeze and hold was never the whole story, and what actually rebuilds pelvic floor function after 50, backed by real research, not Instagram trends. Stay to the end because the technique in minute 10 is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's the one that changes everything. Let's start with what's actually happening in your body after 50 because almost nobody explains this part clearly. Your pelvic floor is a hammock of muscles running from your pubic bone to your tailbone. It holds up your bladder, your uterus, your bowel. It controls when you leak and when you don't. And starting around perimenopause, 3 things hit it at once. First, estrogen drops. Estrogen keeps pelvic tissue thick, elastic, and well supplied with blood. When it falls, that tissue thins and weakens. That's just physiology, not failure on your part. Second, decades of small strain add up. Pregnancy, childbirth, chronic coughing, years of constipation, even high-impact exercise without proper support. They all load this muscle group slowly over time. Third, and this is the one nobody tells you, most women were never actually taught how to do a Kegel correctly in the first place. Here's the research. A clinical review found that less than 30% of women perform a Kegel exercise effectively on the first try, even with instructions. Another study found that 50% of women doing pelvic floor exercises do them incorrectly. And one clinical paper found that up to 70% of women incorrectly performed Kegels when they didn't have hands-on professional instruction. But here's the part that should really get your attention. About 25% of women aren't just doing Kegels ineffectively, they're doing a version that actively promotes incontinence. That's a real clinical finding, not a scare tactic. It happens when you bear down, pushing and straining downward instead of lifting up and in. Your body interprets the cue, squeeze your pelvic floor, and does the opposite movement. And you don't feel the difference because you can't see this muscle group, and most of us were never taught to feel it either. So if you've been faithfully doing your Kegels and you're not seeing results, or worse, you feel like things are getting tighter, more uncomfortable, more strained, that is not you failing at Kegels. That may be Kegels failing you because nobody ever checked your form. And this isn't a small issue. About 1 in 3 women in the U.S. wear some kind of product to manage urine leakage. That's not rare. That's not embarrassing. That's an enormous, under-discussed, undertreated part of women's health after 50. And most of the advice out there stops at just do your Kegels, without ever explaining that the exercise itself requires real instruction to work. So today I'm not telling you to throw Kegels away. I'm going to show you the 3 things that are usually missing, the test you can do right now to see if you're doing them correctly, and the one underused technique that combined with proper Kegels produces dramatically better results. The kind backed by actual pelvic floor physiotherapy research, not wellness influencer guesswork. Let's get specific about why just squeeze isn't enough, because understanding this is what makes the rest of this video actually work for you. Reason 1, the pelvic floor isn't one muscle. It's a coordinated system. It includes muscles that support your bladder, your bowel, your vaginal canal, all working together with your diaphragm and your deep core. Kegels, done in isolation, often only train the squeeze. They don't train the release, and the release matters just as much. A pelvic floor that's chronically tight from years of just squeeze it advice can become hypertonic, overly tense, which can actually cause pain, urgency, and dysfunction, not relief. Reason 2, most Kegel instruction ignores breath. Your pelvic floor and your diaphragm move together like a piston. When you inhale, your diaphragm drops and your pelvic floor should gently release. When you exhale, both lift. If you're holding your breath while you squeeze, which most people do the first 50 times they try this, you're working against your own anatomy. Reason 3. Real life doesn't happen lying down. Most women learn Kegels lying flat on a bed or floor, but your symptoms show up when you're standing, lifting groceries, laughing, sneezing, walking downstairs. A landmark clinical recommendation from pelvic floor researchers, echoed by physiotherapy associations across the U.S. and Canada, is that pelvic floor training has to be progressively integrated into real, upright, functional movement, or the strength you build never transfers to the moments you actually need it. And reason 4, the biggest one, feedback. You cannot see this muscle group. You can't watch it in a mirror like a bicep curl. Multiple studies comparing supervised pelvic floor therapy to self-guided Kegels found that women who got expert feedback, even something as simple as a clinician checking their technique, had significantly better, faster improvement in incontinence symptoms than women doing the exact same exercise alone with no guidance. So if you've been doing this solo with no feedback for years and not seeing results, now you know why. It's not your effort, it's the missing 90% of the instructions nobody gave you. Okay, let's actually check your form right now, because I promise this will be the most useful 4 minutes in this video. Here's a simple way to check if you're contracting correctly without any equipment. Step 1. Sit comfortably, feet flat on the floor, spine tall. Don't lie down for this. We want to test it in a position closer to real life. Step 2. Imagine you're trying to stop the flow of urine and hold back gas at the same time. That combined sensation. Gently engage that area. Step 3. And this is the part that catches almost everyone. Pay attention to direction. A correct contraction feels like a gentle lift, like an elevator going up a few floors. An incorrect contraction feels like pushing down or out, like you're bearing down. If what you feel is pressure pushing outward, or your stomach is the thing actually doing the work, or you're clenching your glutes and inner thighs instead, that's the same mistake roughly a quarter of women make, and it's the one that can make symptoms worse over time, not better. Step 4. Check your breath. If you're holding it or your shoulders are creeping up toward your ears, you're recruiting muscles you don't need and missing the ones you do. A correct contraction should let you keep breathing normally. If you just tried this and realized you've been bearing down instead of lifting, comment lift below, because I guarantee you are not the only one, and I want you to see how many other women just had that same realization watching this. And if this is the first time anyone has actually walked you through how to feel this muscle group instead of just telling you to squeeze 10 times a day, that's exactly the gap I wanted to fix with this video. That's also exactly why working with a pelvic floor physical therapist, even for 1 or 2 sessions, makes such a measurable difference. They can check this with real biofeedback tools, not guesswork. Now that you can feel the difference between lifting and bearing down, here's how to actually rebuild this properly. 3 corrections in order. Correction 1. Relearn the release, not just the squeeze. For every contraction you do, spend equal or more time on a slow, complete release. Not just letting go suddenly, but consciously softening the area, like a fist slowly opening. Many women, especially after years of being told to squeeze constantly, develop a pelvic floor that's stuck, partly tense all the time. That chronic tension is itself a cause of urgency and discomfort. Training the release is just as important as training the contraction, and it's the step almost every generic Do Your Kegels article skips entirely. Correction 2. Connect it to your breath. Before you do a single contraction, take 1 slow breath in through your nose, letting your belly and pelvic floor soften and expand. As you exhale, gently draw up and in. This single change, Breath-coordinated training instead of breath holding is one of the core techniques used in clinical pelvic floor physiotherapy, and it retrains the diaphragm pelvic floor piston system we talked about earlier instead of fighting against it. Correction 3. Progress out of lying down. Once you can do this lying down with good form, move to sitting, then standing, then, and this is the one that actually transfers to real life, try a gentle contraction right before you cough, sneeze, laugh, or stand up from a chair. This is sometimes called the knack in pelvic floor physiotherapy, and it trains your body to protect itself in the exact moments leakage usually happens, instead of only in a quiet, controlled exercise session. These 3 corrections alone, release, breath, and progression, are often the difference between women who say Kegels did nothing and women who see real change in 6 to 12 weeks. Same exercise, completely different instructions. Here's the part I promised you at the start, the piece almost nobody talks about. Your pelvic floor doesn't work alone. It's part of your deep core system alongside your diaphragm, your deep abdominal muscles, and your deep spinal muscles. Pelvic floor researchers and physiotherapists increasingly emphasize that training the pelvic floor in isolation, disconnected from this system, produces limited results, while training it as part of whole body functional movement produces meaningfully better outcomes. What does that actually look like? A few specific evidence-informed additions. Diaphragmatic breathing practice, a few minutes a day, separate from your Kegels. This alone improves the coordination between your breath and pelvic floor, which we already covered is foundational. Gentle, functional strength work. Things like sit-to-stands, bridges, and bodyweight squats, done with breath coordination because these movements load the pelvic floor the way real life does, unlike lying still on a bed. Addressing posture, particularly if you sit for long hours. A persistently slumped or overly arched posture changes the pressure your pelvic floor has to manage all day, independent of how many Kegels you do. And for some women, especially those with more significant symptoms, prolapse, or pain, working directly with a licensed pelvic floor physical therapist isn't an upsell, it's genuinely the evidence-based next step. The research is consistent on this point. Women who receive even occasional professional supervision see better, faster improvement than women doing the same program completely alone. That's true whether you're 35 or 75. There is no shame in this. Pelvic floor PT is a real, respected medical specialty covered by many U.S. insurance plans, and it exists because this muscle group is hard to self-correct without feedback. If your symptoms are significant, frequent leakage, a feeling of heaviness or bulging, pain, or anything that's affecting your daily life, please don't treat a YouTube video as a substitute for that evaluation. Use everything here as a foundation and bring your questions to a doctor or pelvic floor specialist who can actually examine you. Let's make this concrete. Here's what a realistic, research-informed weekly approach looks like. Not a 45-minute regimen, something you can actually sustain. Daily, 5 minutes. Sitting, breath-coordinated contractions. Inhale and release, exhale and lift. 10 reps, holding each lift for 3 to 5 seconds, then fully releasing. A few times a week. Practice the knack, that pre-contraction before you cough, laugh, or stand until it becomes automatic. 2 to 3 times a week. 10 minutes of gentle functional movement, bridges, sit-to-stands, or a short walk with attention to posture, connecting your breath to movement rather than holding it. Ongoing. Notice your bearing down habit in daily life, when lifting something heavy, when on the toilet, and consciously correct toward lifting instead of straining. That's it. That's the realistic version of doing your Kegels right. Not more effort, better instructions applied consistently. And one more thing, because the research is clear on this, and I want to be honest with you rather than oversell anything, this is not a 10 times overnight fix. Pelvic floor changes happen over weeks, typically 6 to 12, sometimes longer depending on your starting point and any underlying conditions. Anyone promising instant results on this topic isn't being straight with you, and I'd rather you trust me with accurate timelines than impress you with a number I can't back up. I want to say one more thing before we wrap up, because this matters more than any technique I've given you. If you've spent years feeling like your body failed because Kegels didn't work, please let that go. The actual data backs you up. A huge percentage of women were given a one-line instruction, just squeeze, for one of the most important muscle groups in their body with zero feedback, zero correction, and zero context for breath or whole body integration. That's not a personal failure. That's a gap in how this information has been taught for decades. What changes outcomes isn't willpower. It's accurate information applied consistently with real feedback when you can get it. That's true of pelvic floor health, and honestly, it's true of most things in midlife health that get oversimplified into a single Instagram tip. You deserve the full explanation, not the shortcut version. That's what I try to do on this channel. Actual research explained plainly without the hype. If this video gave you even one, wait, that's why it wasn't working moment, do 3 things for me. First, comment below. Tell me, were you bearing down instead of lifting? Did the breath connection make sense once you tried it? I read these, and your comment might be the thing that helps another woman finally understand what nobody explained to her either. Second, subscribe, because this channel is built around exactly this: real, research-backed health information for women over 50. No fear tactics, no fake 10 times promises, just what the evidence actually shows. I post new breakdowns like this every week on the topics nobody else is explaining properly: menopause, bone health, heart health, and more pelvic floor deep dives, including how to know when it's time to see a specialist. Third, if you know a woman who's been quietly dealing with this, alone, for years, send her this video. This is one of the most under-discussed health topics for women over 50, and the silence around it is exactly why so many women think they're the only ones struggling. You sending this might be the thing that finally gets her the right information, or gets her to finally book that appointment she's been putting off. I'm Dr. Romalia. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, take care of yourself the way you take care of someone you love, because you deserve exactly that.